This video is part of a Google Form quiz that teachers can assign to their students for homework. After the students submit their answers, then they can play a video like this one to see the answer explained. We've made more than 100 quizzes as Google Forms with free access videos, which teachers are welcome to copy for free. To get access to these, please see the link in the description. If you've not already done so, we suggest that you watch the video on question 5 and the video on bar graphs before watching this video. This video is based on a question from an actual state exam. You may have one like this on your state exam. The introductory text for this question is the same as described in question 5. Please pause this video if you need time to read this. The scientists observed that finches with deep beaks could eat both small seeds and large seeds. However, finches with shallow beaks could eat only small seeds. Figure 2 shows the types of seeds available in different weather conditions on the island. Graph 2 shows how much rain fell on this island from 1976 to 1978. Based on the information in Graph 1 and Figure 2, which beak depth would most likely provide an advantage during dry years? Before we answer this question, let's review the information in the bar graph. Learn a little about the word advantage in the life sciences, and learn how to summarize a lot of information with one diagram. First, let's look at this bar graph. The title tells us this is about the average beak depth in the year 1976 and in the year 1978. The vertical numbers represent the depth of bird beaks, but there are only a few numbers present, so we'll have to write in some other numbers. This dashed line is halfway between the 8 and the 12. The number 10 is halfway between the number 8 and 12. So this dashed line is 10. The top of this red bar is slightly below 10. We'll estimate that its value is 9.5. The top of this blue bar is slightly above the dashed line. We'll estimate that its value is 10.5. Next, let's learn about the word advantage in the life sciences. Animals are always struggling to stay alive. They have to find enough food to eat. They have to avoid being killed and eaten by other animals. And they have to survive in their environment, which could have extreme hot or cold temperatures, periods of little rain or floods. If a living organism has a trait that gives it a survival advantage compared with similar organisms, then we say that it has an advantage. We'll illustrate the idea of an advantage by comparing the diet of a black bear and the diet of a panda bear. Pandas are very picky eaters. For the most part, pandas only eat bamboo plants. And that's just about the only thing it eats. This is a black bear. It is an opportunistic eater. That means it will eat almost anything that it can find or catch. That includes everything from berries to honey to small animals. Here's a quiz. Which one of these bears has a diet that gives it a survival advantage compared with the other bear? The black bear's diet gives it a major survival advantage over the panda bear's diet. That's because the panda depends on just one type of plant. If there is a drought or a disease that kills only bamboo plants, then the panda might run out of food, and some could even starve. On the other hand, a black bear will eat any kind of food. So if one type of food is in short supply due to a disease or drought, then the black bear will still have a lot of choices in food that it likes to eat. Finally, we need to learn how to summarize a lot of information in one diagram. The question asks us, which beak depth would most likely provide an advantage during dry years? This is a short way of saying, which beak depth would most likely provide an advantage during dry years, compared with during wet years? When we look over the answer choices, there appear to be 4 items: deeper beaks, shallower beaks, soft seeds, and hard seeds. So that means we have 6 items to summarize in a single diagram. We'll write the 6 items here: dry year, wet year, large hard seeds, small soft seeds, deeper beak, and shallower beak. We'll use groups and subgroups to summarize how these 6 items are related to each other. We'll draw a big box for the dry year, then make a check next to it, since we're done drawing that item. Next, we draw a big box for the wet year, and then make a check next to it, since we're done drawing that item. We need to know where to write the seed types. Figure 2 will help us answer that question. The text for Figure 2 says, in dry conditions, only large, hard seeds were available. So, we'll draw a box inside the dry box and write in large hard seeds. This next sentence is a little tricky. It says, in wet conditions, small, soft seeds were also available. So does that mean there were large, hard seeds in wet conditions too? Yes. The key word in that sentence is also. In wet conditions, there were both types of seeds. We'll make a box inside the wet box and write in large, hard seeds. Now we'll make a check next to the large, hard seed item. We just read that in wet conditions, small, soft seeds were also available. So we'll draw another box inside the wet box and write in the item, small, soft seeds. Then we'll make a check next to the small, soft seeds item because we're done with it. We need to know where to write the beak depth types. The text above Figure 2 will help us with this. The first sentence tells us where to write the deeper beak item. It states that the scientists observed that finches with deep beaks could eat both small seeds and large seeds. So we'll make boxes inside the large, hard seed and write in deeper beak. Plus, we'll also make a box inside the small, soft seed box and write in deeper beak. Now we can put a check next to the deeper beak item. The second sentence tells us where to write the shallower beak item. It says, however, finches with shallower beaks could eat only small seeds. So we'll draw a box inside the small, soft seed box and write in the item, shallower beaks. Now we can make a check next to the shallower beak item. The answer options don't appear to ask about the size of the beak depth. So there's no reason to write the numbers from Graph 1 into our diagram. Likewise, the question doesn't refer to Graph 2, so there's no need to analyze it for this specific question. Now we're ready to look at the answer choices. Based on the information in Graph 1 and Figure 2, which beak depth would most likely provide an advantage during dry years? Option A states, deeper beaks, because more small, soft seeds will be available. Let's look at the dry box. It seems that finches with deeper beaks seem to have a survival advantage in dry years, because we only see the phrase deeper beak inside the dry box. We don't see the phrase shallower beak inside the dry box. So the first part of the sentence is true, but there are no small, soft seeds in the dry box. So the second part of this sentence is false. That means option A is false. Option B states, deeper beaks, because more large, hard seeds will be available. The first part of the sentence is true, since we can only see deeper beak in the dry box. We don't see shallower beak in the dry box. The second part of the sentence is true, since we only see large, hard seeds in the dry box. That means option B is correct. Option C starts with the phrase shallower beaks, but we know this is false because the dry box contains no phrase of shallower beaks. Likewise, we know option D is wrong since it also starts with the phrase shallower beaks. This question was not testing your knowledge about finches. All the information you needed to know about finches was given in the question. Instead, this question was testing your ability to make a diagram to summarize a lot of information, and then seeing if you can use that diagram to answer challenging questions. State exams often test your ability to make and use a summary diagram to answer questions. Thanks for your attention.